Yo, what's going on? So, if you haven't seen one of my videos before, my name is Barry. I'm 41 years old, and what I'm about to break down to you is not something that I read out of a book, it's through life experience. Now, you may hear some things in here that you might have heard before, but then you won't hear it in this particular way, mainly because this comes from things that I've done over a long period of time, my trials, tribulations, my errors, and then my rise through them. Now, I've changed my life in so many different ways, so many different times that I can't even count. But what I'm doing to you is I'm giving you the best of what I learned over my 41 years of life. Now, if you're wondering why when you do things that it doesn't seem to last like for a long period of time, you always, get to a certain spot and then you end up going right back to where you came from, then this may be why. Now, if you like this kind of information, I ask you to stay tuned, like and subscribe because I got a lot more of this stuff coming to you. Now, the first thing is called, it's going to be broken down into three different levels. Now, the most important is going to be your spirit. Now, I don't mean like spirit by rubbing on crystals and, burning incense like that. Like no offense if you do that kind of stuff, I just don't do it. Now, the spirit is going to be your original operating system, the one that you were at the very beginning. Now, the problem with this is society make sure that they imprint on you from the very beginning. Now it comes from, like when you go out into the world, when you go to school, you're not only just learning, you're taking on the traumas and the unhealed versions of people's parents coming straight through their children, and they get imprinted on you. Now the problem with this is that all these imprints, after a certain amount of time, they get all mixed up together, and then you find yourself trying to fit in because you don't want to feel like you're alone. And when you don't want to feel like you're alone, you start ignoring yourself. You start ignoring all the things that you find pleasing to yourself, ignoring all the things and leaving your real self behind just so you don't feel like you can fit in. Now that becomes a problem because as we get older, that original operating system becomes faded all in an appearance, and it becomes multiple masks over a long period of time. And these masks, they stay on until you start realizing that they are not you and they're hurting you. So what we have to do is find that original system, and the only way you can do that is in silence. You can't do it while you're flipping through your phone. You can't do it while you're around other people. You have to go and take time for yourself in order to find out who you truly are, what you really like, what pleases you, what makes your body settle. Now, the next thing is going to be your mind. Now, the mind is just pretty much a reflection of how your spirit is. Now, if you find that after you do a certain amount of things that you end up going right back to where you were, that means that you still have a little bit of work to do with your spirit. Your mind is just running the program that your spirit gave it. And it may seem all kind of complicated, but it's really not. All this takes place in silence. The birth of a new person comes in silence. You have to write, you have to think, you have to go off by yourself without any other influence to truly find what that means to you. Now, once you get your mind in order, what happens is the last thing, which everybody seems to be, more important, hold this more importance, when it's exactly the opposite. Everybody wants the body, but they don't want to work on the things before. Now, this is where plans come into play, and why I do not like plans is because the plans completely skip over the mind and the spirit, and those are the things that you actually need in order to keep this thing going long term. The body is only the soldier. It just does what the mind and it does what the spirit commands. It's the last piece of the puzzle. So, and the thing that a lot of people get mistaken on is that you think that you can only focus on one at a time, when you really have to do all three at the same time. Well, not necessarily the same time, but you have to work on all three. And if you miss one of these, then you're going to end up doing the same thing that you've always been doing, and you're going to be stuck wondering, what did I do this time? Well, the thing is, like, your body only reacts to what your mind tells it. Your mind only reacts to what your spirit tells you. So it goes, spirit is the operating system. You have to go back to the beginning. You got to do your healing. You got to do your reflection. You can't keep doing the same thing and just hoping for different results. That's the same thing as saying, like, a very common saying is like, I'm waiting on my blessing. Well, the thing is, like, you're not going to get a blessing because you're not going towards it. You're not working towards it. You're just waiting. You can't wait for this kind of stuff. So the first thing that you have to do is find out your original operating system, the things that bring you joy, the things that make you unique, the things that you probably try to hide now because you're afraid that somebody's going to laugh at you about it or make fun of you or tell you that you're crazy. These are actually what makes you unique. And if you don't find those things, you will end up doomed to repeat the same process over and over again. So your 3 steps: find your spirit, get some alone time, write some things down, figure out who you are, figure out where you came from, and then you have to write that in a way that helps you out in the future. Once you do that, then you go to your mind. Now that just runs your operating system. Now you just go and do the same thing over, because every time your spirit tells you that this is you, then your mind follows. Once your mind follows, then your body has no choice but to submit. If you miss one of these things, you're going to repeat the cycle. Come back to this video if you have more questions. Ask me additional questions and I'll elaborate on all that stuff. But the thing is, you're never going to get a plan that works for you long time. You have to create that from who you are, not from some piece of paper or some app that you get, because it's not going to help you find out who you originally were in the beginning. You have to do the work yourself. If you do not do the work yourself, then you are doomed to repeat the same mistake. Now, I hope this video helps out. I don't want to take up a lot of time. I like to get straight to the point, not a lot of fluff, not a lot of things like that. But come back to me and let me know if you have any questions about this. Like and subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I got more coming to you. Y'all have a blessed day. Peace.